So in the past couple of days, that clip came out of Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson getting into some kind of a heated discussion at practice. So I want to hear what Nick Wright had to say on First Things First in the past couple of days regarding this incident. And if you guys want more NFL content like this from around the NFL, feel free to subscribe to the channel down below. And here we go, Nick Wright on First Things First.
Listen, I'm not bothered by this at all, and I do think the end of it, of them dapping each other up, was noteworthy and important. I think that's, I think that having a little brief spat with someone at work, but then making sure that you guys, when you leave the room, are on good terms, is important and good. I am actually, as my part-time job is media ombudsman, more interested in the amount of Jet fans who also in their spare time cover the team, who told me for weeks how unimportant and meaningless practice was, talks about how good this was. Because if mini camps doesn't matter at all, if none of that stuff matters, then this doesn't matter. Then none of it, because this is the whole point of having those mandatory have everyone together moments, is so you can have these positive, because I do think this is positive. I think having two people that really want to work, that want to be good, and making sure, wait, it wasn't one of those, oh, I screwed that up. We both think we're right, so let's make sure we figure out who actually was right or who we're going to say was right so it doesn't happen down the road. I think that's important. But I also think that's why a couple days of mandatory minicamp are not nothing, because that's what fosters these types of things. Sure. But no, I'm not going to kill anybody for this.
I 100% agree with that take. I think that these are the kinds of things that happen at practice, and especially with Aaron Rodgers during his time in Green Bay, he was always known to at times, get on receivers, and I think that when you have a certain level, a certain standard of play, and people aren't living up to those expectations and things aren't going well, I think it's good to have a leader like an Aaron Rodgers who has a very, very solid understanding of the game, to have someone like that be able to correct players and tell them, this isn't how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to do it. Trust me, I've been doing this for, 15 plus years. And so I fully agree with that with Nick Wright, that there's no issue here. There's no problem that, Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson getting into some kind of argument. They clearly figured things out, and I think that this team is going to be better for it, because for years they didn't have a player of Aaron Rodgers' caliber who, has a certain standard of play. And now to have someone like that on this team, I think is going to transform what we see from the Jets in 2024. And then Nick Wright does bring up the fact that, this proves that practice is important. And yes, I agree. I still don't think missing 2 practices out of, however many more there were during OTAs is a big deal. Sure, you would love your players to be there every practice. He wasn't. I don't think it's going to be a meaningful or have any kind of, meaning when it comes to the 2024 season. So no doubt, with these guys being out there practice, they're trying to get things situated, figured out. And because Aaron Rodgers got injured last year, wasn't able to really take strides with this team and, the chemistry with the receivers, that's where it's starting to happen now. It's starting to happen now at these training camp practices. And when it comes to this Jets 2024 season, their outlook, I think that there's no doubt in my mind they're going to be a playoff team. That's just what I think. You look at last year, they were 7-10 with the worst quarterback play in the NFL. They had the dead last passer rating in the NFL at quarterback at 70.3. And if you look at Aaron Rodgers in his last year in Green Bay, which I think was a down year for Aaron Rodgers, his passer rating was still 21 points higher than what the Jets put out there last year at quarterback at 91.1. And during that season, Aaron Rodgers was with a lot of young players out there to start the season, and then he also injured his thumb. And so I think that was a big factor in how Aaron Rodgers played in his final season in Green Bay. And so even if you got that style of Aaron Rodgers, I think that gives you at least 3 more wins when it comes to the Jets last year winning 7 games. So I think this is a playoff team, and it really comes down to, how quickly they can get things on track. And I think with the defense they have here, they knew last year that they were a quarterback away from being a really dangerous team. And I still think that's the case for 2024.